In this video, I want to share with you an analogy that helped me overcome my fear of talking to women, because I remember when my ex of 5.5 years left me back in 2017, 2018, I started going on dates and it was horrible. Like, I would literally go on a date, I'd be sitting there across from someone that I just met online, and my heart would start beating, my mind would just go completely blank, and I just wouldn't be able to move the conversation forward. And eventually, I just stopped going on dates because I was so afraid of that feeling. I just did not want to feel that feeling. And eventually, I read about this analogy in the book called The Untethered Soul, which I highly recommend. And he gave this analogy of two dogs. And basically, long story short, back in the day, if you wanted to have a dog in your backyard, you would have to have a fence, right? There'd have to be a clear fence that the dog couldn't go through. But with modern technology, what you can do is you can dig up the ground and then put electrical shocks underneath the dirt and then put a collar around the dog's neck. So when the dog tries to go where it shouldn't, it's going to get zapped. And then eventually what the dog learns is if it goes past this invisible boundary, it's going to get zapped and then it runs back to where it should be. Well, that's kind of what happens in our life. We have these invisible boundaries. You see someone you find attractive, bang, you get zapped and you're like, oh no, I better not go and talk to her. Or you match someone online, but then you don't move the conversation forward because you're afraid of rejection or you're afraid of being hurt or whatever it is. And what we eventually do is we build a life that is run by this invisible collar. We build the life inside of this invisible boundary, inside of these invisible walls. But then inside of that book, the author, Michael Singer, gives an example of another dog, and he says, what happens if we've got a brave dog? And instead of every time he goes and gets zapped, he runs back into where he should be, imagine if instead he just gets zapped and keeps moving forward. He feels the pain but keeps moving forward. Feels the discomfort but keeps moving forward. Eventually he's going to walk so far that he no longer gets zapped. And that's really the analogy that helped me so much, because it's true. It's the same in life. If you're afraid of talking to women right now, if you just go and talk to them, yeah, you're going to get zapped. You're going to feel uncomfortable. But if you just keep talking to them, keep putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations, eventually you're going to feel comfortable talking to women you're attracted to. And then eventually you're no longer going to be run by this invisible collar. So this analogy helped me so much, because I remember I'd be out with friends and he'd say, go and talk to that person. And I'd be like, no. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, do I want to be a caged dog run by this invisible collar? And then I would go and talk to her. And I would just keep pushing through the fear. And eventually I got comfortable talking to women that I found attractive. And now I'm in a relationship with my dream partner. And we're engaged and we're going to get married next year. And we're going to have kids in the near future. This analogy really, really helped me. And I wanted to share it with you because I know that there's a lot of guys watching my videos, and I've got a lot of clients that struggle with fear around women. And they end up just not talking to women, or end up settling for women who aren't right for them because they're afraid to talk to the women they really, really want to talk to. Maybe they don't feel like they're good enough. Maybe they're afraid of running out of things to say. Maybe they're afraid of rejection. It's all the same. These are just invisible boundaries that you have to get past. And if you keep going past them, eventually they'll no longer hurt you. Just like our dog example earlier in the video. So use this analogy going forward. Remember it. Keep it in your mind. I promise you it will make a huge difference. This helped me so many times where I was afraid to do something, not only in my dating life, but in my entire life as well. If I was afraid to post a video, or I was afraid to talk about a certain subject, I would just remember, am I going to be a caged dog, or am I going to actually live the life that I want to live? With that said, I hope that you enjoyed that one. I trust you got a lot of value out of it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll chat to you in the next one.